Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is me, Sakshi Shah, a second year physiotherapy student in KUSMS. So without any further delay, let's get back into the video.
Let's go!
In today's video, we'll be discussing about how to top medical exams, how to score good in your first. So before starting, we all know there are three sections what we need to focus about. The first one is the MCQ, the second is the theory, and the third is the practical. Now, talking about the theory exams, I know it's a lot tough to study theory exams in medical school, especially in Nepal, where we study system-wise. In our first year, we have basics, then we have MSK, then we have cardio, and then we have respi. And all these papers we need to study in our first year. So, talking about the subjects, we have anatomy, physiology, microbiology, biochemistry, pharmacology, and pathology. And each subject has a different way to deal with it. And we all know that we need to give all the 6 subjects exam in a single paper in a 3-hour exam. So how to deal with it? I know it's really difficult for as a first year student, and after giving your CE or maybe NEET exams, and then you need to change your strategy of the exam, and you can't just study as a whole everything, because that's simply literally not possible to study everything of a subject. So for that, what we need to do is we need to study smartly, and then we need to apply techniques which we have not used before. So without any further delay, let me talk about the techniques which I used as a student in my first year. First of all, talking about the theory exams in anatomy, what I used to do is I used to study with the diagrams. First of all, what you need to focus about, we need to focus in the class. The major thing is the focus in the class. After focusing in the class, at the same time you need to make the notes. Whatever you're understanding in the class, you need to make the notes. This idea simply works for me. I don't know about you all guys, but this idea used to work for me. I used to go in the class, I used to listen to the lectures, I used to write down whatever I understood, and I used to have one copy. Yeah, I'm not going to fake in this video. I am going to be very truthful about how I used to study. I used to have one copy, a single note in which all my 6 subjects used to be included. And in that, I used to write everyday class notes, whatever I understood, whatever I was trying to understand. Then we had the slides from which I used to copy there. Then after returning home, what I used to do is we all know the medical students have the fast tracks, but I used to not open fast tracks very soon. I used to study books. For anatomy, I really preferred 0 volume BD Chaurasia in my first semester, and then I preferred for MSK BD Chaurasia first volume, and it is a wonderful book to study. And you need to study, don't study everything from the book, but you need to focus on the diagrams, because MSK is all about diagrams, and yes, you need to focus on that. So this is all about anatomy. And you need to also make sure that when you are studying about MSK, you need to visualize things. Like if you are studying about biceps, you need to make sure you need to know where the biceps origins from, where it inserts from. Then I know it will be really nice to study. Then talking about physiology. Physiology is also a wonderful subject to study, and it carries too much marks in physiotherapy. So physiology, my technique to study physiology was I used to study important topics. Like we all know that action potential has a very great weightage in exam rather than any other topic. So I used to focus on the major topics of the exams. So I used to deal with it. And biochemistry, microbiology, and for pathology and biochemistry, I used to go for previous year questions. I used to, in whole, for all the 6 subjects, I used to go for previous year questions. And then I used to make sure what are the important questions that have been asking in my university. Then I used to make sure that these questions are coming, and I used to focus on that questions pretty much more than other topics. Now, this technique might work in your internal exams as it carries 20% marks of your board exams. So this technique will work. Your previous year questions will work. But talking about university, it is, I guess, only 30 to 40% questions of your previous year questions are repeated, while the other questions are all are new questions. So for that, how to tackle those questions? For that, what you need to do is you need to buy fast track. Yes, fast track is important. I also study fast track, and every medical student of Kathmandu University studies fast track. But this technique is only used nearly 2 weeks or 3 weeks before exam. But before that, you need to study a book. Remember that book is important to study. Now, before 3 weeks of exam, what you can do is go to the fast track. In fast track, you have MCQs there. You have all the previous year questions, and study everything from the fast track. The simple thing for uni exam is study everything in the fast track. Don't leave anything. If you want to score good, if you want to become a topper, you need to study everything from the fast track, line to line. Everything should be by hearted, all the clinical anatomies and everything. But if you just want to pass the exams, you want a decent marks, then study the important topics from the fast track which are asked in previous year mbbs, previous year BDS, nursing, everything. Do all those questions and it will be good for you. You will be good to go for your uni. So this is the trick which I used for my theory exams. Now talking about MCQ is the most important thing to study. Now MCQs, I know everyone has done their MCQs in their CE exams, so I don't need to explain you much about MCQ. But imagine you are getting just 1 marks by just one tick in 30 seconds. Then why not focus on MCQs? Because MCQs are really important to score good marks in your exams. So I basically say that focus on MCQ. To focus on MCQ, you need to study everything in detail, but don't by heart it, just read it. So at least after reading it, you will be good to go for your MCQs, and you can practice MCQs. For patho, you can use Harsh Mohan book for the MCQs, and for anatomy, you can do BD Choresh MCQs, all the MCQs, and for physiology and rest subjects, you can use fast track. So this is my trick to do MCQ. Guys, the basic thing is just focus on MCQs. MCQs are really important thing. Now, the next thing what I want to talk about is the practical exams. I know, guys, practical exams are really difficult, and it still gives me a nightmare. I'm in my 4th semester, and my practical exam still gives me nightmares. So how to deal with your practical exams? So dealing with practical exams is really simple. The only thing what is, be confident in what you have learned. Learn properly. Be confident in what you have learned. Go and say your answer confidently if you know the answer, and if you don't know the answer, just don't say anything, and don't say anything rubbish. That is the only deal how to deal with practicals. Now practicals are not only about vivas, but you have your practical file. Guys, maintain your practical file. I'll tell you, maintaining a practical file is really important. Start doing your practical files from the very first day, otherwise there is going to be a lot of burden of the work, and trust me, do your practical works from the first day. And the second thing is you have spotters. Make sure that your all spotters are correct. Now for that, you need to make sure that you know every spotters, what a practice your anatomy practicals very seriously when the classes are going on, because anatomy and physiology practicals are very important. Just focus on the class, what you are learning, learn each and every muscles. But let me tell you a trick. What we used to do is in MSK, only the superficial muscles used to be asked in our exams and not the very deep muscles. So there is a trick, just learn the superficial muscles, origin and insertion, and no need to go very deep in those muscles, and only learn the important muscles. No need to summarize every origin and insertion. I did the mistake. I just read every muscles, origin and insertion in my MSK paper in my internals. Then I realized that not every muscles are important, only the important ones and the superficial ones are important. So guys, don't do that mistake, and study the spotters very properly. If you score good in your spotters, then if your viva is not that good and you're not that much confident, you will be passed in your practical. So make sure that your spotters are all correct and you're doing good in your spotters. So this is all about I wanted to say about the theory, MCQs and practical exams. You guys, if you all want more detail about how to tackle your practical exams about physiotherapy and theory exams of physiotherapy, I'll be uploading in my next video. Till then, stay connected. And also I scored 24 out of 25 in my physiotherapy practicals in my uni exam. So if you want my tips and tricks on how to study for your physiotherapy exams and practicals, let me know. Bye bye.